Welcome to the 47th chapter of the book of Jeremiah. And it begins, and the word of the Lord came, the Rhema here, not the Logos. The difference is not great. The Logos is more direct for a word, and a Rhema is a saying more or less, but I use the word for both of them. But anyway, it came to Jeremiah, the prophet, and it calls him a prophet, against the Allophilos before the striking of Pharaoh of Gaza. Now, I put in Philistines. I could have used the Greek meaning, which is allo is other, and philos is tribes, the other tribes. But the King James ended up using Philistines. There is a word in Greek, it's Philistine, phi epsilon lambda iota sigma tav iota epsilon iota mi, Philistine. It's used as a proper name for these people. This Allophilos is more of a generic term for the peoples. They are, it was even used in a derogatory sense. A Philistine, somebody that's a base person or mean, or it was derogatory. Today, the word for these people is Palestine, the Palestinians. From the Philistine, you can see it's almost a transliteration. So it's against these peoples. And these people, it says, before the striking of Pharaoh of Gaza. So I'm not sure which Pharaoh was, Necho or somebody, but Gaza, well, he went up. Pharaoh Necho went up through Gaza, crossed the Sinai, and up to Carchemish. At the valley of Megiddo, he defeated Josiah, then went up to the Euphrates River and fought Nebuchadnezzar and was defeated, came back down. Now, when this was, when he was in Gaza, it doesn't really say. But now Gaza, let's go to a map here, and we'll see. Here's Israel, and Euphrates is up here, river where Carchemish was, up by the Syrian-Turkish border. And Gaza's down here. And in Egypt, the Sinai is right here. So he came across, went through Gaza, and on up to fight that battle. And in Gaza is the cities of Gath and Ashdod, which it will mention. And then up here in Lebanon, we have Sidon and Tyre, which will also be mentioned, as all these people are somewhat related. So the word came before his striking them, and it says, "Thus says the Lord, behold, waters ascend from the north," and generally that was the Babylonians and before other chapters, "and will be for a rushing stream flooding. And it shall flood the land and the fullness of it, the city and the ones dwelling in it. And the men shall cry out, and the ones dwelling in the land shall shout all together from the sound of his thrust, from the hoofs of his feet, and from the quake of his chariots, the sound of his wheels, The fathers turn not unto their sons because of the feebleness of their hands, in the coming one, to destroy all the Philistines, and to obliterate Tyre and Sidon and all the rest of their helpers." Now, is this is talking about Nebuchadnezzar coming down? Yes, but it's also could be talking about a future time, which would be to them, which might be even today, because right now the Palestinians are gathering together. They have been for 6 weeks at the border fence between Gaza and Israel, and over 50 have been killed by Israeli snipers when they tried to break over the wall or the fence, and over 10,000 have been wounded, and 25 have lost their limbs as of today, which is the July the 6th. May the 6th. And so they are doing this until the 14th, when it's the 70th anniversary of the founding of Israel. So we'll see what happens for the rest of this period of time as we're going through. I'll let you know, update on that. So these Philistines were a people, it goes on, they're tied into the Tyre and Sidon, which was up there in Lebanon, and the Phoenicians. And the Phoenicians were boat people in the Mediterranean, set up Carthage. They went many places, over to Crete, Cyprus, set up outposts for their trading. And so it mentions here that the one from the north, now it could be today somebody's going to come and do some destruction. I don't know. It says, for the Lord will utterly destroy the Philistines of the remnants of the islands of Cappadocia. Now, this Cappadokias is a Greek word, and Cappadocia was up in Turkey. And these people, it mentions in Deuteronomy 2:23, they came down with the Hivites and they conquered the Anakim, which here it'll mention about right here. Baldness has come upon Gaza. Ashkelon was thrown away in the remnant of the Anakim. So they were related to this Anakim, who were also related to the Rephaim, the giants. And we know Goliath was down from Gaza, and he was a giant, or he was from Gath, I believe, which was Gaza Strip. And so these Cappadocians. Now, the King James has Caphtor, and Caphtor was in Egypt. So there's a big difference between the two. Now, the King James translated from the Hebrew, and here this is from the Greek. If you go to Caphtor, you'll see that there was ties into Cyprus, the islands of Cyprus and Crete somewhat, but it was basically part of Egypt. But when they translated, the rabbis or whoever translated the Hebrew into the Greek, they didn't use Caphtor, which would have been another word. It is mentioned, I believe, in it's mentioned earlier, and there's an article in Wikipedia mentioned in Genesis, but they use the word Cappadokias, which ties in to these people that had come down from Anatolia, Turkey, and baldness has come upon Gaza. Ashkelon was thrown away in the remnant of the Anakim. The Anakim were a people that developed probably from the Cappadocians, then came down with the Hivites. It mentions in Deuteronomy 2:23 how they came down and they captured the land and settled in Gaza. So I don't see where this Caphtor in Egypt is, for the King James, is correct. Then it says, how long will you smite, sword of the Lord? Now it's interesting. Well, it's the sword of the Lord, so it doesn't say anything about Nebuchadnezzar, really. It's vague on who these people are that's going to do this striking. Until when will you not be still? Restore it into your sheath. Cause it to rest and be lifted away. How shall it be quiet? And the Lord gave charge to it against Ashkelon and against the places by the sea, for the remnant to be roused. So this short chapter here, it goes into 48 next, against Moab. So right here in the beginning of against these different peoples, and these were the Philistines, could be talking about the Palestinians today, and being defeated once by the sword of God. And we know that, and it says of the remnant of the Anakim, who are related to the Rephaim, which you can read about in Deuteronomy 2:11. It talks about the Rephaim, and the whole second chapter is on the Anakim and the Rephaim. And then it mentions in Joshua 11:21 and 22 that some of the Anakim left, when Joshua attacked these areas, that there were still some of the remnant of the Anakim left in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod, Ashdod was on that map in the Gaza Strip area. But it mentions in Joshua 14 later, in verses 12-15, that Hebron was the mother city of the Anakim, and that is also the mother city, basically, of the Palestinians today, Hebron, although the Gaza Strip is separate from the West Bank, which is considered area of the Palestinians today. So the Hebron was the mother city of the Anakim, and here, this whole chapter, if you go through it again, you'll see that they're going to be destroyed. Now, it says before the striking of Pharaoh of Gaza, so it could be separate from anything of Nebuchadnezzar, somebody else coming from the north with the sword of the Lord. I'm not sure, but I thought I would bring that out, that it could be some other thing than something that had already was going to happen real soon in Jeremiah's time. 48 against Moab will be our next video seminar, a judgment against Moab, and I hope you'll join us for chapter 48, and God bless.